Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Charities count the cost of caring after the government budget increases national insurance.
Everybody in social care should be allowed to thrive, to live independently and have the best life that they possibly can. And for that, the government needs to recognise the importance of social care.
We asked the chair of Independent Care Group how the budget will impact charities. Also tonight, 2 former South Yorkshire police officers are accused of sex offences while on duty in the 1990s. A brother flies across the world to donate stem cells to his sister in North Yorkshire for life-saving cancer treatment, and
almost 300 very special candles have been lit here in Scarborough so people can enjoy the fire garden and fire artists like this.
Very big change on the way. Skies like this on Thursday, but it will be a lot colder. Join me for that detailed forecast.
hello, it's lovely to have your company this evening. First tonight, a Yorkshire-based charity supporting adults with learning and physical disabilities has warned that increasing costs caused by the budget could prevent it delivering some services in the future. The Wilf Ward Family Trust says changes to the employer's national insurance contributions and the national living wage will cost an extra £1.4 million per year. Let's take a look at some figures, because back in October the government announced it would increase the national insurance contributions paid by employers from 13.8% to 15% and lower the threshold at which it must be paid from £9,100 right down to £5,000. The new budget will also see the national living wage rise by 6.7% to £12.21 an hour. Well, the charity says it will protect the services it already provides, but taking on new contracts may not be possible if it's too expensive to deliver the care. Our health correspondent Jamie Coulson reports.
Uncle Bethany.
Uncle Jonathan.
Rebecca. Matthew. Ben.
This is the Everson family, 5 brothers and sisters, 4 of whom were adopted as children. For almost 20 years they've lived in supported accommodation in North Yorkshire, enabling them to stay together while living full and busy lives. Their home is provided by the Wilf Ward Family Trust.
Hi, Ben. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
A charity that helps adults with learning and physical disabilities.
We've been living here with the family for many years now, and it's been really good. And they really enjoy Christmases and birthdays.
About living together as a family because it's really special.
You're very happy.
Right, do you want to get your coat off, fella, and get your coffee?
Yes.
Officially we're support workers, but actually we're enablers, we're friends.
Is that Ben's? Whoa, that's lovely.
We're not carers, we're not nursing staff, we're people here to enable this wonderful family to be able to live independently.
This is my bedroom.
The charity provides more than 70 residential and supported living services and employs nearly 900 staff. Tight margins mean it currently makes a deficit on around 60% of services, relying on financial reserves to fill the gaps.
Get off.
But the charity has estimated changes announced in the autumn budget to employer national insurance and the national living wage will cost an extra £1.4 million a year. The charity's chief executive says it remains committed to those it already supports, but it could affect what it offers in future.
Hopefully for the people we look after, everything will remain the same. Where we're going to encounter difficulty is if we have new packages of support. We will ask for one price, the local authority will only be able to offer a different price. And if we can't make the sums work, we can't offer that service.
Everybody in social care should be allowed to thrive, to live independently and have the best life that they possibly can. And for that, the government needs to recognise the importance of social care.
Thank you, Beth.
The government says its plan for change is built on the foundations of a stable economy and that tackling the challenges facing adult social care is vital to change. It says it's taking steps to build a national care service that will address issues like fair pay.
Bye. Farewell, say goodbye.
Jamie Coulson, BBC Look North.
What a lovely, happy family they are. Well, earlier I spoke to Mike Padgham, chair of the Independent Care Group, which represents social care providers in North Yorkshire, and asked how concerned he is about the impact of the changes.
Well, we're very concerned, really, because the amount of extra funding that's going to be required for employers' national insurance contribution doesn't so far seem to be met by government. We're worried that providers not in the public sector are going to be penalised, and therefore we perhaps may not be able to continue to provide services in the future.
The government says that the way to improve public service is to have a stable economy. Would you not accept that?
Yes, I agree, a stable economy is needed, but I don't think what the government's yet quite realised is the effects on our sector, which provides a lot of care on behalf of the public sector. And what we're saying is we can't continue to do that in the future because we cannot meet the costs that the government's going to load upon this sector.
The government has talked about creating a national care service that will look at creating fair pay for employers and workers. Do they not need time to put that in place?
Yes, they do. We fully support the Fair Pay Agreement and a national care service. What I might say is give this government the benefit of the doubt is we've been waiting through successive governments for change, and what we're told again, we've got to wait a bit longer, maybe not even in this parliament, for a national care service. What we need is action today. We've waited so long for reform and it's badly needed.
What concerns do you have if these changes go through? What are the implications?
Well, I got some statistics I can give you, is that many providers surveyed in the last few weeks have said that 22% of them may have to close and go out of business altogether. And at least 73% would say they might not be able to take on new public sector contracts. And a further percentage saying, and that's over 50%, say they might have to hand their contracts back to local government. So we're worried that services will cease to be provided in the future unless this issue is addressed.
Mike Padgham, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Let's move on now. 2 former South Yorkshire police officers have been arrested on suspicion of sex offences in Rotherham. An investigation is continuing and the police watchdog has been informed about the allegations dating back to the 1990s. Our Home Affairs correspondent Emma Glasby is in Rotherham for us this evening. Emma.
Well, South Yorkshire Police has said today it is alleged that these 2 former police officers were both on duty in Rotherham when these reported offences took place. One of the men, a retired police constable in his 60s, was arrested on suspicion of attempted rape, indecent assault and misconduct in a public office. He is being investigated over allegations of abuse against 2 girls between 1995 and 99. Now, the other man, a former police constable in his 50s, was arrested on suspicion of indecent assault and misconduct in a public office. Those allegations date back to 1995-96. Both men have been released on bail while the investigation continues. Now, this has been a joint operation between South Yorkshire Police and the National Crime Agency's Operation Stovewood, which has been investigating child sexual exploitation in Rotherham. We are told this operation will now be looking at whether there are any further alleged offences, victims or suspects linked to this. Now, South Yorkshire Police has referred itself to the police watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, because of these allegations against 2 former police officers.
Emma, thank you. Let's have a look at some other stories coming into our newsroom now. Our report into the riots over the summer in places like Rotherham says police need to be better prepared for violent disorder in the future. Inspectors say the mobilisation of officers from across the country were called too late. The report describes a limited number of officers in Rotherham, amounting to a thin blue line. Inspectors say South Yorkshire police officers had to endure sustained attack waiting for reinforcements outside a hotel housing asylum seekers. More than 60 officers were injured.
In the circumstances, with the amount of resources that were there, everyone concerned did the best they could to keep people safe. If the national mobilisation had been called earlier, there would have been more resources there, so more officers there. So that would have allowed the commanders at the scene there to actually undertake different tactics.
There's a couple of officers I've spoken to now, in fact, no more than a couple, who said they thought they were going to die. They were doing that for hours and having bricks, slabs, everything thrown at them. Now when they're starting to reflect on it, that's when I think we're starting to see some of the psychological sort of impact really starting to come to the fore now.
Yorkshire Water says a busy main road shut for repairs in Hebden Bridge should reopen next week. The A646 Halifax Road has been closed for emergency repairs to a culvert and a sewer, causing major disruption for drivers and for businesses as well at a busy time of year. It was feared that the route would be shut until January, but Yorkshire Water today said they hope it will reopen on Christmas Eve. A teenager who was born at 29 weeks has crossed the finish line of a swimming challenge today in aid of Sheffield Children's Hospital. 13-year-old Rose Moore from Penistone has a chronic lung condition and took up swimming and underwater hockey to help with her health. She's received lifelong care at the hospital and in October began the weekly challenge, which has raised nearly £1,000. Well done, Rose. Now, the air we're breathing is getting cleaner every year thanks to clean air projects. Sheffield was one of the most polluted places in Europe, but now projects at schools and universities in the city are leading the way. Ollie Constable has been speaking to the people behind clean air projects.
The steel centre of the world, Sheffield, where only a few years ago smoke poured from nearly every chimney, industrial and domestic.
We've come a long way. Almost 70 years ago, we adopted the Clean Air Act in a bid to control emissions from factories and homes. It was a landmark decision, with places such as Sheffield feeling the brunt. An industrial city, the home of steel, told to clean up its act.
So what we can see here is the industry in Sheffield meant it was higher than Leeds, but we're both coming down now.
Today, academics like Dr. Jim McQuaid can see the effect those movements have had.
You could actually smell Sheffield if you were downwind from it, and that was from the steelworks, the smell of sulphur. So, and that's all gone now. So we're trying to get to, the World Health Organisation has now set a guideline.
There's still a long way to go. Projects like this green wall trap particulates from passing traffic, improving the air quality for school children.
Simple idea. It's a barrier around the school playground, so it has a huge impact for the children. Primary age children spend 20% of their journey on the yard. During that time they're playing, they're running around, they're breathing heavily. We want to make sure that the air is of the best quality for them.
So this is an air quality sensor that measures nitrogen dioxide.
And it's worked too. Sensors inside the playground have shown the air quality has improved by 10%, especially important for young children.
These particles are really, really tiny, so we cannot see them with our naked eyes. So what happens is when we breathe, they are so tiny that they can also get into our lungs and also even to our bloodstream.
It's a bad thing because it can also pollute the earth. A long time ago we had like these fences what had holes in, so all the pollution could come in school.
This event at Sheffield Hallam University is for academics to share what they're working on around air quality and the technology they're using to measure success.
Well, sensors like these are getting cheaper, and there's never been more of them measuring our air. And all the data is in real time too, giving experts an up-to-date measure of pollution.
Great strides have been made to improve the air we breathe, but like with the city of yesteryear, there's always more to be done.
Sheffield, a changing city and one with a future.
Some great projects there. A young mum from South Yorkshire living with a disability says she wants to shake off any stigma for people needing to use mobility aids. Grace True from Sheffield set up a business designing and making walking sticks and frames for toy dolls. The 28-year-old has fibromyalgia, a long-term condition that can cause muscle stiffness and increased sensitivity to pain. Phil Bodmer has been to meet her.
And then a little bit of excess glue on there.
From her home in Hillsborough, Grace, a business analyst, designs and produces a range of colourful canes, frames and walking sticks for toy dolls. The idea followed a diagnosis of a medical condition which changed her life.
When I was in my late teens, I started getting symptoms, mostly muscle pain, muscle spasms, pain in my joints, things like that. And then over the years, I started developing more neurological symptoms, so issues with my short-term memory, my speech, my recall, and it took me about 7 years in total to get diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Growing up, she always had a love of dolls, but feels her toys could have been more representative of wider society.
When I became disabled, I felt very ashamed of having to potentially use mobility aids. I didn't see them around, you know, shown on young people in media, in dolls. And I spent a very long time not using them, which eventually made my conditions worse.
Grace's inspiration led to the launch of Disabled Dolly last year, and since has seen her produce items for customers across the world.
I had to spend a lot of time looking for things that I could use to create them, looking for acrylic rods, different things that I could use to create handles of sight canes, you know, the little reflective strips. Also looking around for people who would be able to 3D print the walkers for me, because it's quite a cost.
The business, born out of lived experience, aims to be not just a commercial success, but also to help alter attitudes towards those living with disability.
It really needs to change the way that people kind of see us and the lives that we live, and recognise that we deserve to be seen, we deserve to be represented. We're 15% of the world's population, like that's a lot of people who are waiting to be seen.
With a young daughter herself, Grace says she wants future generations to avoid the stigmas and biases she was brought up with. Phil Bottomer, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
That's a brilliant idea. Grace is so talented, isn't she? Next tonight, a story of going that extra mile, quite literally, for family. It's 6 months since Jenny Gwilliam had a life-saving stem cell transplant in which her brother was the donor. Colin Gwilliam from New Zealand flew to his sister's side in Malton when she was diagnosed with a type of leukemia in April. Against the odds, he was a medical match she needed to fight back. Tom Ingle reports.
Because I think if we did Christmas Day at about 8 o'clock, which would probably be 7 o'clock in the evening.
Siblings separated by half a planet. Yorkshire and New Zealand are easily connected by the internet, but there are times when a video call just won't cut it.
I have existing blood cancer for which I get checkups every month at York Hospital, haematology unit, and it was just one of those routine tests that they suddenly called me, said, can you come in? And I had to have a bone marrow biopsy, and it then revealed that I'd progressed into acute myeloid leukemia. So that was a massive shock.
The options were stark: palliative care or chemotherapy, followed by a stem cell transplant, which would require a matching donor. Jenny and Colin might not thank us for sharing this picture of them, but their bond since childhood was about to become so much stronger. He was that match and flew halfway around the world for the procedure.
There's normally a 25% chance that a sibling will be a match, but there's less than 1% worldwide that it would be a 100% match. We've been together for 56 years. Yes, we've had our ups and downs like all siblings do. But ultimately, it's family, and the fact that she is, fingers crossed, on the way to recovery. She's got my good set of hair now, and hopefully she'll pick up all of my other traits as well.
Thank you just doesn't seem a big enough word. It's such a unique experience to go through, and it's been a pivotal moment in my life. And I'm just forever grateful that he was a match, grateful that he said yes. And also really honoured that he was there with me.
6 months on from the transplant, Jenny's parents are the latest family members to help out. Her immune system is still rebooting, hence the face mask. Fiercely independent, it's been a year where she's come to realise how much support really matters.
We'll catch up nearer to Christmas Day and sort out having a family video call.
And from Yorkshire to New Zealand, Colin and Jenny are spreading the word. Sign up to be a blood and stem cell donor. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Malton.
That's sibling love for you, isn't it? Take a look at this, isn't it beautiful? Hundreds of candles have been lit in Scarborough this evening as the Victorian Rose Garden has been turned into a fire and light walk. It's the grand finale of Scarborough's Lights, which has been running for the last few weeks. Our reporter Beth Parsons sent this.
There's something really very special about dark, cold nights and the warmth of the fire. And the event here in Scarborough tonight is really tapping into those innate feelings. Have a quick look at this. This is Ed, the fire artist, full of danger, full of fear and full of fiery warmth. But we'll come back to him in just a second. Let's find out a bit more about the event here today. I'd like to introduce you to someone who maybe has the coolest name in the world. This is Brian Thunder. He works with fire. You've done lots of shows like this before. What has to happen behind scenes for something like this to go on?
So this is one of 13 fire gardens that are going to be burning tonight all across the UK, all part of Light Trails that we work on in Culture Creative. And this one in Scarborough is actually the largest one we've done. It's got about 300 candles burning here tonight. They're all like a 1 kilogram candle that are robust, that burn at a heat of around about 500 degrees centigrade, which keeps them alight in the wet, the windy conditions to create the kind of the beautiful picture that we create here behind you. But I have to say though, the star of this trail is Scarborough itself, because you're standing up here on this hillside and you've just got the lights of Scarborough below you, surrounded by the beautiful fire and surrounded by all the lights that we have here.
It's incredibly atmospheric. And actually one of my questions was, are they normal candles? They are far from normal candles. These are very specialist candles.
Very hot.
Very hot indeed. Let's chat to Gillian. Now, you have been involved as the director of Scarborough Lights this year. So this is just one of the events that's happened. How has it gone for 2024?
It's been amazing. We've had over 50 different events and installations around Scarborough, and this is the culmination of it. We've got more than half of the events are free or pay what you can. When you come to Scarborough for the fire garden, you can also come and have a look around at all the other things which are free.
I'll let you two get on and go and explore the rest of the fire garden. I did promise we'd talk to fire artist Ed. Now, I'll stand back here with with the microphone. What's the one thing people always want to know about what you do? Because it's a one-of-a-kind job.
Oh, well, absolutely, yeah. So a lot of people ask me how I don't burn my hands. That's a pretty common question.
And then show us the trick with that.
Well, so this is the spiral wrap. Kids love it. You can see I'm actually wearing some pretty hardy gloves here, and the main trick is to yeah, absolutely keep the fire moving, make sure it doesn't get too high, and practice lots and lots.
Well, I think it'd be rude for us to end any other way. So just so you know, this is the first of 5 nights that you can come and visit the fire garden here at Scarborough, overlooking the beautiful South Bay as well. Ed, fire artist, do please take it away.
Oh.
Very impressive. I'm glad Beth didn't have a go at that. Let's keep with the Christmassy theme, shall we? The last few weeks you've been sending us your fabulously festive pets. Paul promised that he'd dress up Dave the dog.
And he was very, very obedient last night.
He was. Let's see him. Where is he? And he's like, oh, look. Oh, he looks quite sophisticated, doesn't he?
Well, he is.
He looks comfortable like that.
He's 10 in summer. He's doing very well, and he's sniffing the dog treats that I've hung on that tree.
They won't be lasting long, will they? Oh, he looks lovely, does Dave?
And you had a bigger challenge. You were going to dress up your chicken called Marvin. Were you successful?
To be honest, I was going to dress up any chicken that would stand still.
Right, OK.
There was a lot of running around the garden this morning. There's Marvin. Isn't she gorgeous? She's the only one that... Yes.
Marvin?
She's broody.
Right.
She's the only one that would sit still. When they're broody, they'll let you do anything.
Now,
so there we go, Christmas hat.
Is Marvin enjoying the last days of freedom?
What do you mean?
Well, are you not plumping him up?
She's a chicken, not a turkey.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Do move on.
Yes, do move on. I am greatly offended. I think she'll be a bit chewy by this stage anyway. Here's the contact details. We want to see your festive feathers. If you can get your chickens in a Christmas hat, I'd like to see it. But any festive pets, we'd love to show them on Look North tomorrow. We're going to do a fabulous slideshow. look.north@bbc.co.uk on email. All the details there. You know how to get in touch by now, don't you? While we've got you, only a week to go. Put your money on it.
Okay.
White Christmas.
This is the earliest I've ever called it on television. I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. Let's have a look at the last White Christmas, though, because we have to go back 14 years. December 2010 was an absolute classic. It was fabulous. The deepest snow in December since 1981. So are we going to get that this year? You've got no chance. Exceptionally mild. It's going to be a lovely Christmas day. Temperatures could well reach 14 degrees. How about that?
Only white thing is going to be our Christmas tree.
Yes, indeed. That's a very good point. Well made. We're getting rid of that after Boxing Day. Right, a couple of pictures I want to show you. That was this morning as the weather front went past Middlestown. What a beautiful rainbow that was. And it always surprises me when I see pictures of Filey Bay completely deserted. If you'd have gone there today, you'd have virtually had the whole beach to yourself. But anyway, keep the pictures coming in. Addresses are on your screen right now. So tomorrow the sky's going to look like this. It looks a cold and sunny day, a temporary cold day before weather fronts race back in from the west. So do enjoy the sunshine tomorrow, but wrap up warm. The next weather system's going to bring rain for a time on Friday, and powering in behind that, yet another weather front bringing wet and windy weather for a time on Saturday. So it's very, very changeable, but Christmas does look very mild indeed. Now there's tonight's rain. It's already into South Yorkshire, it's into parts of West Yorkshire. It's going to continue marching northeastwards, so a very wet night to come. The greens indicate potentially some heavy rain, but it does move fast. It clears all parts by the end of the night, and we'll see lowest temperatures coming in at around 4 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow's high water times then: Scarborough 6:42, Bridlington at 7 a.m. So apart from a few showers across the Peak District, very straightforward. Tomorrow's dry, mainly sunny, but very cold, despite the fact temperatures will be around normal for December. That's the forecast.
She lays a lovely egg, does Marvin?
Does she?
She does, but you won't be having any after those cruel comments.
Oh, come on.
That is it from us. Keep those festive pet pictures coming on and we'll show them tomorrow night. That's it from us. Good night for now.